see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 863 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's November 10th, 2025. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of Survivor Series Aces blend from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10, that's LOTS10, and shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club for even more awesome coffee perks. Today we got another packed show, a Dolly update with some confusing post-Spay aftercare instructions, a wild look at Universe 25 experiment from way back, you might have heard of that one before, and how I got sucked into true crime docuseries and a little bit more. So grab your coffee, smash the like button, and let's get started. Good morning. How we doing? Mr. Pippin in early says, happy Monday, humans. Prepping for a garage sale for this weekend. Wow, I got a lot of crap. Yeah, we went through that, and actually I'm sitting there looking at it right now, even though we downsized greatly coming out of the homestead and moving into the RV. Once we sat down and we realized that we were going to be building the cabin, I've been accumulating products from Amazon to do reviews and tools and stuff to build the cabin, and it's piling up. Quickly running out of room. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. How we doing? Good morning, Rewilder Life. 13 degrees. Yeah, it's a little chilly here. Wood stove is rolling pretty hard this morning. It looks like, I think it's like 28 degrees outside. Yeah, 28. That's enough of that shit. Tomorrow actually is supposed to be colder. I think we're down into the low 20s overnight, and then back up into that 70s, 50s. 70s, 40s swing. That's gorgeous. Absolutely love the temperature this time of year with the highs in the 70s and lows in the 50s and 40s. But man, these little cold pops. It's too early for this. It's only November 10th. A little sip of this Survivors Pack Aces blend this week. I think it was a couple weeks ago I was drinking the 8th blend, which was fantastic. It was definitely one of the best blends that Brian has sent out. Brian has sent out from Food Forest Farms. This week I'm hitting up the Aces blend. And little notes from Brian on the Aces blend. He says it's a light Colombian for super clean coffee flavor, quote unquote coffee flavor. I think all coffee tastes like coffee, but this one, that Colombian definitely, it hits you with that what you think coffee is supposed to taste like, and then it's that Colombian mixed with a light Ethiopian for the light floral tones, mixed with medium Nicaraguan to blend in some bigger mouthfeel and chocolatey notes. It's a solid cup of coffee. He says it's perfect early morning cup. It's solid. It's solid. You can pick up that Survivors Blend Twin Pack, which has the Aces and the 8s, over at foodforestfarms.com. That is available until Scramble and walks again after his little accident, and thus the Survivor Twin Pack. And pick it up. You never know when he's going to be taking that first step, so you're going to want to order it up and give it a try today. I prefer the 8s, but the Aces is really good too. So check it out, or any of the other awesome coffee over at foodforestfarms.com. Rewilder Life's going to bake today to heat up the house. Yeah, we don't have an oven. Oh, we do have an oven. We literally have never used the oven in the RV since we got it. It just seemed like such a pain in the ass to go through the hoops to get it to light and use it and relearn all the temperatures and how it cooks and all of that. And it's super tiny. Like I don't think I don't think you can fit a frozen pizza in it. Maybe a little Tony's frozen pizza, but nothing of any significant size. So I don't know if Pip was around last week, if he was in the house when he won the Bitcoin guest contest for the week. Man, you were within 500 within 500 bones for the no prize, but man, you nailed it last week. Let's go and see who guessed this week and what their guesses were. On the screen there, you can see my guess was 119,669. I didn't come close. Bitcoin price currently on the ticker tracker 106,005, 106,005, $106,005. My guess, not even close, 119,669, way off. Canadian Farmstead threw a guess out of 112,500. Not bad, getting closer. John Palmer, 101,232. That's pretty close, but not as close as someone else. Mike's Homestead slid in with a 113,124, 113,124. Not that close. Scrambling with the all ones, 111,111. Not as close as Carson and the winner this week of nothing. A winner this week of nothing is Carson over in the Telegram chat, and with his guess of 108,321. 108,321. He was only about $2,000 off. John Palmer sliding into to second there in the contest with no prizes with 101,000. So Bitcoin took a little dump this week. Definitely some buying opportunities if you're looking to pick up and looking to stack. We were dipping below 100,000 there a few times during the week. We were talking about it over in the chat. I encourage you, if you're a fan of the show, or if you're a fan of just hanging out and bullshitting on, topics across the board over in the Telegram chat all the time. A lot of bullshit and a lot of serious stuff, questions asked and answered, and all sorts of fun stuff. You can find that at t.me/lots chat. Like, go to your web browser, type in https colon, is that a colon, slash backslash t, the letter t.me/lots chat, LOTSCHAT, if you want to come over and hang out in the Telegram chat. If you don't use Telegram, definitely a decent little app there for individual communication, for following different folks. If they're over there on Telegram, you can and they have a channel which is basically a one-way communication to a lot of people. You join the channel, and it's almost like a Facebook page where the person that has the channel can post out information to people, and there's no conversation there. And then group chats where large amounts of people can be in the same chat room and talk about whatever. And that's what Lots Chat is, and it's a good time. It's a good time. So Bitcoin, it's going along. I was digging in, and I was looking at the 4-year cycle, the halving cycle. Good morning, Martinson family. Thanks for stopping in. I should make my prediction for next week too. So 119,669 this week. So we're at $106,005. I think we're gonna have a good week this week. Let's say I'm gonna take Scrambling's cue, and we're gonna do 111,111. So 111,111 is my guess for November. That'll be November 17th. So if you want to get in on that, you can head on over to the Telegram chat and throw your guess in for the Bitcoin price next Monday morning on the show. I'm doing a $111,111. I guess you could throw it in the chat here. It's just easier to keep track of over in the Telegram chat. And since there's no prize, you got to follow the rules. So, I was looking at Bitcoin and the halving cycle. So every 4 years, if you don't know, every 4 years, Bitcoin goes through a halving cycle where the reward for mining a block on the blockchain, it's cut in half. And then it usually follows with a bull run over extended period of time, and then a drop off, and then kind of I think it's called crypto winter, and it kind of peters along, and then another bull run, and then goes into the halving again. So just looking at historical timelines of the period after the halving, where the price peaks usually, and it's usually a big run up in October, which has just passed. The halving was earlier in I believe it was earlier in 2025. What was it in 2024? 2025. I'm sorry, I didn't verify that date. It's been it's been a blur since the halving, but it was supposed to peak. The average peak date would put this halving cycle. The peak should be around the end of November. So November 29th, I think, was the actual average of all the halvings. And then I think this was the fourth halving. If you average the dates of when the peak of the bull run post halving was, it was November 29th. And that's coming up pretty quick here. So either the pattern is going to change. Well, the pattern is going to change at some point. The run has not been as significant as it has been in past, or the date's going to be wrong, and it's going to be extended out. So lots of outside factors in that, especially adoption into the industrial large investments into the stock market and mutual funds and ETFs. Excuse me. It's I can't think this morning. I slept really good with the cold weather. We ran the wood stove overnight a little bit, and man, I zonked out, but still a little foggy this morning. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin if it just kind of I don't want to say fizzles this halving cycle, or if it breaks the pattern and it goes on a run later on, or if it's just Root Wilder Life says I need more coffee. Yeah, I do need more coffee, but if I slam it, if I just guzzle it down, then I won't have any to finish the show, and that would be sad. That would be sad for sure. So, but anyway. We'll see. We'll see how Bitcoin does. I'm not getting rid of mine. I continue to plod along and earn it where I can, and pick up some where I can, sell things for Bitcoin when I can, and just keep stacking and see what happens. And we also had an interesting conversation about what the end goal of Bitcoin is over in the Telegram chat earlier this week. It was a really good conversation. Had people from all different angles, and it really made me realize that the end goal with Bitcoin really depends on your situation, and what your goals in general are financially, and so I've been tinkering around with some notes, and that's probably going to be a segment of an upcoming show, like the different reasons people own and stack Bitcoin and believe in Bitcoin and what they want to do. It just didn't come together quite enough for the show this week, but look forward to that. Coming up is a chat on and why and how people are going to proceed in the future with their Bitcoin, depending on, I mean, it really depends on what the value ends up being. So, but anyway, that is for a different day. The first topic I want to talk about this morning was Dolly. Dolly had her appointment to get spayed on, I believe it was on Friday. So we took her in on Friday. She's doing great. By the way, she's out there laying on the tote in front of the wood stove. I think that's going to be a spot for her for most of the winter. Most of the cold season is going to be curled up right there in front of the heat. But dropped her off Friday morning, And then the procedure with the vet we took her to was drop her off in the morning. Hunter says, "You named it? The cat? I didn't name it." Good morning, Hunter, by the way, over on Twitch. You talking about the cat, Hunter? The cat's not going anywhere. That was the first he's heard of the name. Corey named her quite early on. She's good. She's good. So the way Corey goes with her names is the cat's got an official name. Dolly is the cat's official name, but she is affectionately referred to as Mittens, Mitten Kitten, and several other things that Corey calls them, because we never call our pets by their actual name. So yeah, Dolly. So we drop her off on Friday morning. She gets checked in. I think we dropped her off. They said in the first hour, and there was like a line of people dropping off animals. So I think this vet who does basically walk-in appointments for other than surgery, I think that they just load them in for the day, and they did them. I think they did spays on certain days of the week, and then they just they fit them in between appointments and stuff, because we've been there with for another appointment, and the vet tech was like, well, he'll be in a minute, he's just finishing up surgery. So I think they just do them like in between appointments. But anyway, drew the normal instructions: no food after, I think it was like 6 the night before, no water. So we drop her off, and yeah, it was the vet's really nice. There's nice people there. We drop her off, and instructions were to pick her up the next morning at the same time. And so we called that afternoon, and she did fine. They gave us an update, said she did great. No problem. Pick her up the next morning. So Corey, being a responsible pet owner, and not having ever had an animal spayed, we've always had male dogs. When Corey got her one kitten, it was a male, and then the female that she got was already spayed through the Humane Society when we had our cats before, which, when they were gone, I said never again. And I just love my wife enough that this one's here to stay, I guess. Anyway, we didn't know how we were supposed to care for her after. Can she not run around? Can she not play? Do we need to feed her different? All of that stuff, all the aftercare instructions for a cat being spayed, we weren't sure. So Corey looked it up, and she went through it, and she was prepared, to try to follow the instructions. And I got a quick list that was very similar to hers, share with you. The internet said, the first 24 hours are going to be groggy, sleepy. And I wasn't sure if this first 24 hours is like if they do the spay and you pick them right up after, or if this was like more of a long, like the next day. But basically, going to be groggy, you're not going to want to do anything. But then the restrictions are what kind of caught my attention. It said activity restrictions from 10 to 14 days after surgery. You're going to want she should not jump up or down from high places, wrestle with other pets, run, zoom, rough play, not lick an incision. And it basically said, it's tough to stop all of that, but you're really going to want to limit it for 10 to 14 days. And we're thinking, okay, well, she plays with Clyde all the time. The dogs get wound up. She wants to play with them. The dogs want to play with her. This is going to be tough. And watching her overnight and things like that. Those were the activity restrictions. The incision, we're supposed to check twice a day, and keep an eye on that. That's obvious, I think. When it said, we asked if it needed a cone or a suit, like a onesie thing to keep them from getting at the incision. It said Most cats need protection for 7 to 10 days with an e-collar cone, soft cone, or one of the cat onesies. And then that they should come home with pain meds, that they'll probably be on those for 1 to 3 days, and to follow the dosing instructions given by the vet. Eating and drinking, normal appetite usually returns within 12 to 24 hours. If she won't eat, keep an eye on that, call the vet. Use only low dust litter for a while, and just keep an eye on the incision with the litter getting stuck in it, and if she's not peeing, to take her to the vet. If she hasn't peed in 24 hours, she's doing all that fine. Stitches, normally at this point they're using absorbable, dissolvable stitches, and shouldn't have to take them back for that. But keep an eye that they don't tear open and bleed and stuff like that. So this is for 10 to 14 days, and we're like, wow, it's what we expected after the dogs and the neutering and how to take care of them and whatnot. It's what we were expecting, but we were trying to figure out how to make it happen and how to take care of her the best we can. And so we were talking about it. She had been looking it up for quite a while, and she's like, I looked it up, and we both kind of putting our heads together to figure out how to take care of this cat when it came home. And so we didn't have a cone for her. We didn't have a suit for her. We were like, oh, we'll see what the vet says. Sometimes instructions are different. And so we were kind of bullshitting about it. And then Saturday morning we got up and we went to go get her. And we walk in, and they bring her out, and she's in her cat backpack that Corey has. I don't know if I told you guys about the cat backpack with the clear bubble on the back. Like, she literally can put the cat in the backpack and take it for a walk. The cat bounces around quite a bit when we take it for a walk, but she enjoys going in there with it sitting on the floor, and it has an expandable little mesh porch that she can go in. So it's basically a travel, I would say, like a travel kennel. She really likes it. She feels comfortable in it. So that's what we were using instead of the hard-sided crate. And so they bring her out. She's in that. She just kind of like looks a little lethargic. She kind of looked happy to see us, and she wasn't too pissed off that we had left her there. But we're talking to the vet, and we wanted to get their aftercare instructions, like what they say. And so Corey's like, so what do we get, pain meds, or what's the deal with taking care of her? And they're like, oh, she's fine. And we're like, wait, what? We're like, well, do we need pain meds for her? She's like, well, not really. Maybe. Maybe. Like, not really sure what to give her. And so we didn't really get a conclusion of what we can give her and what we can't. They're like, oh, she should be fine. She seems fine. And we're like, okay, well, we'll be calling you back if she starts screaming and is in pain. But we were like, any restrictions as far as a cone or playing with the dogs? Or they're like, no, she should be good. Keep an eye on her. And Corey and I are both like, wait, what? Every place we looked up on the internet, I mean, including, vet sites, Google search, ChatGPT, all the different things said, yeah, 10 to 14 days, all this restrictions, all these things you need to walk out for. And the vet we took her to was just like, yeah, she's good. It's good. Take her home. She's fine. No problem. So we brought her home. We let her out. The dogs were very, very happy to see her. Clyde, actually, when she was gone Friday night, was visibly depressed. And he was happy to see his friend when she came back. Norman couldn't care less. Norman and the cat interact because they're in the camper together, but I think Norman is a little skittish of her, or scared he's going to hurt her, because at one point he sat on her accidentally and she screamed and ran, and I think it made Norman a little hesitant to get too close, and that he's going to hurt her. But Clyde and her are best friends. Clyde and her wrestle all the time, play all the time, cuddle all the time, and he was visibly upset while she was gone. So he was happy she was back. They played just a little bit. He was super gentle with her. Like, he could tell that something was going on with her. Was super gentle with her, and she kind of just chilled out. Over the last couple days, she's gotten more and more active, and it is what it is. We followed the vet's instruction because that was a lot easier. But she's been fine. She's been fine. Rewilder Life says pain meds make them move more. Our dog ended up having issues due to that. Our vet said they try not to give them to them due to that. That makes sense. That makes sense. It kind of lets them heal at their own pace. And we didn't know. We didn't know. You cut the dog's balls off, and it is what it is. It's not. I guess it is invasive surgery, but it seems a lot less invasive and a lot less long recovery than I guess a spay. They take I don't even know for sure, but I believe they take the whole uterus as basically a hysterectomy. It's not like a tube tie type of thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. I never looked that far up, but we were just very, very shocked at the difference in the aftercare instructions that we found on our own, and then and corroborated by multiple sources. I gotta stress that it wasn't like we just searched and found the first thing and it was some super super high end instructions. These were like found in multiple places, and just the stark difference in aftercare that we got from the vet. And it wasn't even aftercare instructions. Like, we had to ask. They were just going to hand us the cat, and we were going to pay for it and take off. Corey was like, hold on, any instructions? Nope, guess not. And another thing we noticed too is here in Tennessee, I don't know why there are any kittens or puppies or puppy kittens. It seems like we didn't use it because we didn't know if we needed to jump through hoops or whatnot, because we aren't Tennessee residents at the moment. But pretty much every county in Tennessee has a voucher program where, like, you can get free or steeply discounted spay and neuters for cats and dogs. And on Friday, when we were dropping her off, there was a line of people dropping off pets to be spayed and or neutered, and we were the only ones that weren't using assistance, as they called it. They all had vouchers from the county they lived in that basically, I think it ended up being like $30 instead of $100, which we were very excited about. $100. We've been to vets that cost a lot more than that, so $100 was not bad. But we were the only ones that weren't using the assistance program that you get through the Humane Society or the Animal Control or these local shelters. Do voucher programs for spaying. So it's needed. It's needed. You look around the area and the amount of stray cats and dogs. I feel like Bob Barker. Be sure to spay and neuter your pets. Help control the pet population by spaying and neutering your pets. Real Hour Life says $700 to fix the boys. Did you do them at the same time, or is it $700 a piece? Corey, do you remember how much it was to neuter the dogs? Corey said our boys were $200 each, and we did all ours at the same time, all three to the vet, and all three home, which was a $700 for both. Okay, so that's $350. That's close to what we were at. We were pretty rural. The vet we were taking our boys to was a farm vet, a country vet that had a little cheaper. She says they were both full grown. Bear Walter was over a year, and the younger ones were 9 months. She's back there listening because I'll get it all wrong. But the minute Clyde lifted his leg to spray or to mark, Corey made the appointment the next day because we were dealing with that with Walter, and we did until we had to put him down. But we didn't want three of them marking. So, but yeah, $100 for the spay. We were completely happy with that. But I guess with the price, you get the limited aftercare instructions. So anyway, she's doing good. We haven't noticed any issues with her. Real Other Life says ours, we're fighting, dealing with blood. Yeah, testosterone. So anyway, Dolly's all good. No more kittens for us. And but the problem is now, as we take our dog walks twice a day, every day, walking down the road, there are two little kittens that are outside a trailer down the road, and I see Corey eyeballing them every day, talking about them, wondering if they're being taken care of. They're consistently sitting next to the door of this trailer, so I assume that they're getting fed from these people and they're not leaving. I don't know if they are their cats or not, but I'm worried that my beautiful bride is getting I don't want to say attached, but attached to these two small kittens that are down the road. So I told her no more kittens in the camper, no more kittens in the camper. We might need some cats when we get out to the property, but they will be outside cats. So we will see. Let's see. Moving on. I came across. I've heard of this and looked at it quite a few times over my years. Pip says, "So what you're saying is no more kittens for now. No more kittens till the next one. Till Corey decides she wants another one, and it is what it is." It's easier to let Corey be happy than not happy. I like to make her happy. That makes me happy. So as long as it's tolerable, and which I think we're at the limit. She tried to explain that we had Walter in here with us, and he was 160 pounds, 140 pounds, whatever, up there, well over 100 pounds. And the fact that he's gone and the cat only weighs like 8 pounds, 10 pounds, or whatever she weighs, we can get a lot more kittens and still be underweight. I don't know if that's a valid point, but that's what she was trying to explain to me. But anyway, I was rolling through, I believe it was Facebook, the other day, and I came across a post about Universe 25. And I had seen Universe 25 or read about it. I didn't see it. I wasn't alive in 1968, but I knew about Universe 25. I'd looked into it. I had actually read a few different things about it, but it had been a while, and so I was like, oh, Universe 25, and kind of read this article about it. It was obviously an AI. Like let's tell the story and get clicks. It wasn't somebody's analysis of it, and it was just AI probably picked it up off the interwebs and made a post about it, and I read it, but it got me thinking again. And for the people that don't know what Universe 25 is, it was an experiment in 1968. A guy named John B. Calhoun was going to make in a lab. He was going to make a mouse-utopia, and it was going to be an experiment to see what happened when a colony of mice was given unlimited food, water, nesting, no predators, basically everything they need, and nothing that's going to hurt them. The goal was to study what happened to the population when all physical needs are met and overcrowding becomes the only pressure. So basically, they were free to do whatever they want and populate until they filled the room or overpopulated, or that was just what his experiment was meant to do. So he made this large enclosure habitat called Universe 25, and started out with a small number of mice and took care of them basically. And it turned out that there ended up being 4 phases to this experiment. What the mice went through. The first was the population boom. There was a large population growth. Everything looked great. They were thriving. They were happy. There was no fighting. There was no fighting over food because they had all they wanted. There was no fighting over space. As the population exploded, there began to be overcrowding because the only limiting factor in the experiment was the size of the habitat. There became social tensions. There became competition for mating. There was territorial stress where living space was becoming crowded. And then there was some behavioral changes. There became aggression, a lot of aggression, basically over mating and food. But with all the food provided, it was almost a false aggression for food. Isolation. A lot of the mice would start to isolate, and then maternal neglect. The mothers basically stopped taking care of the babies, started even being aggressive and eating the babies, their own offspring. And one of the reasons that was concluded was no space, and also that there were just so many babies. You're just having babies, and it flipped a switch in the maternal the mother mouses. And then something weird happened at the end. There was a time, a point where all the mice stopped mating. They stopped parenting, and they basically all withdrew from interacting in a society together. And it basically it collapsed. The whole society collapsed. They gave them more space after this had happened, and the society never recovered. They weren't able to adapt to a new size space. But even if they were, I think it was concluded that even if they were given more space, they would continue to do the same pattern. Mike Homestead says, sounds like the welfare in the projects. I mean, has been definitely paralleled Universe 21 or Universe 25, excuse me. Hold on one second. There's been a lot of parallels drawn to different society. So he did this. He repeated it several times, and it didn't end up in my notes. Maybe it was 25. Yes, that's probably why he named it that. 25 more times with the exact same results. So it was actually done 26 times with the same exact pattern of results, where the key phases, the population boom, then the social tensions after overpopulation starts, behavioral changes with the aggression, the isolation, and the maternal neglect, and then the fact that they just stop mating and the society collapses. It's just a provable pattern, repeatable pattern. Up to 26 times this happened. One of the groups of mice that developed in this experiment repeatedly was what Calhoun called the beautiful ones. These were typically male mice, and they at some point basically checked out of society. they groomed themselves constantly. They avoided others. They didn't mate. They stopped mating. And they basically checked out of the whole society. He called them the beautiful ones. Basically, they groomed themselves and ate and took care of themselves, but had no interest in interacting, in mating or anything like that. And it was just this odd little segment of the society that they just pulled themselves away, and all they cared about was taking care of themselves and grooming themselves. But in natural societies, in the wild, grooming, um, the end goal of that is mating. But they stopped mating. They stopped interacting with female mice, and it was just an odd behavior. Um, a lot of people point to this and compare it, like Mike did, to different portions of society and human behaviors. Maybe not. I think there's a lot of external factors that he could control that in society are different. I think we always. I don't think there's a point where all our needs are met for us with no problem. I guess Mike says in the projects, I guess if food and shelter are provided, that is something. So might have a point there. But a lot of people think that this is just mice. I don't know. I think about it every so often. Just randomly, this experiment pops into my head, and I don't know if it's because I'm observing something in the world and going, oh man, this really fits into the Universe 25, parameters. I don't know. Is there a group of males out there right now that are completely obsessed with grooming themselves and nothing else? I don't know. But Universe 25, you should if you have some time, you should pull that up, check it out, and think about it. And just it's stuff to spur thought, I guess, when you look at something like this. So thanks, Facebook, for putting it in front of my face and having me think about it for a little while. Another thing that we've been that I've been thinking about over the last few days, Corey and I have gone down a new rabbit hole with our entertainment. We started watching true crime on the true crime train now. I think it started late last week, maybe late last week into the weekend. We started watching some true crime docuseries. Put a bunch on our playlist over on Netflix, but I think the first one we watched that really got us hooked back into it was Oklahoma City bombing. And I think I'm enjoying watching these because we've watched a lot of them where I know the story, lived through it. I wasn't at the Oklahoma City bombing, but experienced it through the news, was alive and paying attention, old enough to pay attention when the things happened. So we watched things like the Oklahoma City bombing, Lacey Peterson, JonBenet Ramsey, and then a bunch of other ones that I hadn't heard of, but still very interesting. And I don't know. I'm okay with it. I like watching the true crime stuff. I like watching. I for sure my favorite ones are the ones that I remember the events happening, and then seeing more details, seeing the things after the fact that weren't put out in the media, or that were missed by police, or weren't reported up front. That really is the why I enjoy watching them. And then with the new stories, the stories I haven't seen before, the whole thing, and trying to trying to figure out who done it throughout the whole program, and fully well knowing that they're making they're constructing the program, they're laying it out in a way that's going to twist and turn and likely not come up with the proper answer till the end when they want you to, whether depending on who is doing the documentary. So serial killers are on our list. Watching serial killer true crime is something that I've always been a fan of, and always been a fan of the made up stories too, like a Criminal Minds program and things like that has always interested me. But we really gone down the docuseries kick. I think I talked last week. We were watching the poop cruise and things like that, and we moved on to the true crime. I think my favorite one so far, I mean, really probably has to be the Oklahoma City bombing was the first one we watched, and it got me hooked again. And I don't know how many of you, so that was in, I believe it was in 94. I don't know how many people remember it and how clearly you remember it, but some things that I was noticing from that, and from some of the other ones, because we watched a lot of that were from the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. During the docuseries, they will show news clips. They will show what the news reporters were saying, what the public was saying when they would interview people on the street, what the police were coming out with, and the news looks the same. Literally, the news looks the same. What struck me about the Oklahoma City bombing was Hunter says, I recorded over one of my mom's VCR tapes. What was it? Your birthday? Your birthday that you recorded over? Did you record over something important? But watching the news reports of the Oklahoma City bombing and what came out immediately after it happened made me chuckle. And then we watched a couple other things that it really everything is a Middle Eastern or a Muslim guy or guys in a vehicle that did it. Hunter says, I don't know, but she was mad. You should ask her. The immediate response to the Oklahoma City bombing, and multiple people called in to report this, was 3 Middle Eastern men in a van driving to the building, leaving the van, and then escaping. Reported multiple times. And so the initial search was for Middle Eastern guys, terrorists. And we're talking in 94, before 9/11, before anything like that, where it would be on the tops of minds. I guess I was young enough where I wasn't really immersed in that culture yet, and understanding who was the stereotypical bad guy. But to watch the news gobble that up and lead the public to think that it was Middle Eastern guys, it turns out to be two white dudes. But also the once they found Tim McVeigh, and whether you think Tim McVeigh did it or not, or what it was, the whole thing, basically when they announced Tim McVeigh, the media went down the right-wing extremist and the militia and the videos they were showing. And it just makes me chuckle because it's similar to today. It really is. The way things are reported, the keywords, the buzzwords, the more it changes, the more it stays the same. So watching these and going back and hearing the way they talk about them, and I haven't watched the news, so I could be totally off base. But reading the buzzwords, reading the the articles online instead of watching the evening news. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. What is it? 30 years later, 30 years, mid 90s to the 2025, and we're all in the same patterns. Oh, so lots of good docuseries on Netflix. I don't know if we've switched over back to Prime and checked out over there, but once we got in the loop on Netflix, they just feed them to us one after another. So interesting stuff for sure. One last thing I had on my list today. Was this observation, just observation. Corey and I have talked about this for quite a while. It wasn't necessarily when we got here. That's not when it started, but we've talked quite a bit about it since we've been here, and since we routinely at the same relative time walk the dogs down the road. We go in the morning, we go for about a mile walk. In the afternoon, we go for about a half-mile walk. And we're in the same relative time period that we're doing this. Morning, one in the mid-afternoon, and we see the same cars. We see the same cars and trucks, and we figure people are on their way to work or on their way home from work, or they live in the area. Wave to a lot of people. We've had people stop us in other places. I think I talked about it on the show. We had somebody at Lowe's say, "Hey, do you walk your dogs in Saltillo?" And yeah, "Oh, I drive by, blah 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 blah." She also invited us to church, which happens a lot around here. But anyway, we have a lot of observational data. Corey's very good at remembering data. I think it comes with her job, but remembering makes and models of vehicles and who was driving. Really notice speed, especially on this road. We notice speed. We notice who kind of gets over when they're passing us, if there's nobody else coming the other direction, which normally there isn't. When there are people coming both directions and they're going to meet up near us, it just turns into an absolute shit show. We literally move off the road quite a ways, far enough, and people would literally stop on the road and wait and wait to pass. And it as much as I appreciate the thoughtfulness, it makes me wonder what happens when they come across the car just driving down the road, if they're able to pass it, since we're completely off the road. Corey believes the good in people and believes that they're just worried the dogs are going to run out in the road, so they want to be really careful. But anyway, I get back to we notice speed quite a bit, and we've really come up with a correlation that folks that drive white vehicles, more often than not, don't slow down and are actually driving extremely fast. And the worst offenders are people driving white SUVs. White SUVs, more often than not, are speeding extremely fast compared to the rest of traffic, and they're also less likely to move over when they drive past and just fly past. White vehicles in general, white SUVs specifically. So if you drive a white SUV, I don't know what that says about you, but empirical evidence. We've watched it. Observational evidence. We've yet to document it. Maybe we should. But this is also something that we've noticed as we traveled, as we were on the road. John Palmer might be able to chime in as somebody that's on the road all day, every day. Are white SUV drivers more likely to be going fast and be inconsiderate of others, let's say? But regardless, we what's going on here? Sorry, guys. So it is what it is. Hunter says, "Happy birthday, Marines! Just noticed the date. Happy birthday, Marines! Semper Fi. Isn't that wasn't the birthday of the Marines on Veterans Day? I know it was the end of the war, Armistice Day. The Marines were the day before. I was never in the military. My dad was, but I was never in, so it's nothing that I noticed. So if Hunter says so, happy birthday, Marines. Get you some. Other than that, guys, I don't got a whole lot. The road is still not covered with rock, but I was able to drive in and out this past week. It didn't rain and had quite a bit of sun and wind going on. And I went out, I walked back one day, I think it was Tuesday. I walked back and the road was hard. I have to describe it. And even this weekend, Corey and I went out and walked out to do a little planning. What it feels like under your feet, it feels like modeling clay, and it is clay. It's bare clay, which makes it any bit of water on it's just slippery. There's no traction whatsoever. That's why it's so hard to get in and out. But right now, the consistency of the road is basically like modeling clay under your feet. You step on like the ridges, and a lot of places where it's packed down, it is super hard. But like if there's a tire track going through it and you step on the edge, it almost feels like you're squishing modeling clay in between your fingers, but it's under your feet. I went out on Tuesday and noticed that there were tire tracks that our friend that's back there, that's got another property that's staying back there currently, had gotten his SUV unstuck. It looked like he had been in and out a few times. I walked back that day. I did what I had to do. I walked back out. And then the next day I decided I was going to drive in. You make fists with your toes. And so the next day I decided I was going to drive in and out, and went in. So right now, the bad spots is two separate hills, one huge, long, pretty decent slope hill, but it's very long. In the other one is a probably the same steepness, but very short. And on the way in, you're going down the long hill, and and then up the short hill. And on the way out, you're going down the short hill and then up this long extended hill. And so I was going in, and I drive down the big long hill. When you drive down it's you really can't tell unless it's really slippery and you're sliding all over the place. But going down it, I wasn't accelerating. There was no resistance. I was just rolling to the bottom of the hill. And then the next hill on the way in, the shorter hill, I went up and I felt like I was starting to bog down. I was starting to slow down. Pip says, strangely, I know exactly where he's talking about. Actually, Pip, it's changed quite a bit. He did quite a bit of work since you've been here and changed the topography of the road in and out. But on the way in, I started going up the shorter, not as steep hill, and I was slowing down. And it wasn't very long hill, so I slowed down a little bit, but got to the crown of the hill and continued on. And the rest of the road, it still has chert on it. It is what it is. There's some washout, but like no problem with traction. And so I got done what I got done, and I was coming out, and I was worried the whole time I was there. I was like, "Oh no, that short little hill is this bad. I don't know how I'm going to make it up the long hill because it's just you progressively slow down and lose momentum and lose traction, and when you stop, there's no getting started again in this clay." And so I took off and started driving out. I went down the short hill and sunk just a little bit, and I was really getting nervous at this point. So I got to the top before the long steep hill. There's a crown, and then you go down a hill that's been finished, that's covered with chert, that's really nice, and then attempt to go up this huge, long, drawn out hill. And so I get to the top, and I pause, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get as much momentum as I can and go for it. I'm going to try to hit this guy's tracks that are compacted down so I don't sink at all. And so I hit it, and I was going up the hill, and I was slowing down and bogging down and slipping a little bit. And then as I got about 3/4 of the way up, there was a spot. That had like dried out. Obviously, as the hill's drying out, the most amount of water is at the bottom. So that was the wettest. It's taking the longest to dry out. And I got about 3/4 of the way up the hill. And then I knew I got to a point, and I was like, I made it. I made it. And I got to the top of the hill, and I was super excited that I'd driven in and out. But it hasn't rained since. I just don't know. I'm nervous about getting a delivery back there. I'm nervous about a delivery truck getting stuck, whether that be because the road isn't in good enough condition or the driver isn't as good enough driver. But if I tell them it's okay to go and get back there, that they're good to drive back, they're good to drive out, and that truck gets stuck, I really feel like that's on me. So I don't want to make that bad decision. So still waiting on rock, still waiting on material delivery on the cabin, basically working at clearing solar field and prepping things that I don't need any material for, that wasn't going to be done until we were really ready to move out there. All the progress is a little progress in the right direction, but this is just kind of throwing all our stuff for a loop. Windows and doors are scheduled to be here this week. If the original timeline when we ordered them was right, I'll be getting a call this week with those. So then it's going to be time to decide, can the driver get in? Can the driver get out? And how long can they hold on to them for free? Because I may have to find a different place to store the windows and doors until the rock gets on the road. We'll see. We will see what they say too. Having that conversation with people that are delivering it too is something, and what their trucks are capable of. I mean, dump trucks get in places that I would never drive my pickup. So we'll see. Anyway, we're going to wrap up here. We're after 7 o'clock, and we're going to wrap up, move on for the week. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you want to get in on that Bitcoin guessing game, you can head on over to t.me/lots chat. Be sure to check out Food Forest Farms for any coffee needs. Premium coffee over at Food Forest Farms is unbelievable. You got to try it to know what you're missing out on. So save 10% and order some up. foodforestfarms.com, code LOTS10, LOTS10 will get you 10% off. And other than that, have a fantastic week. I hope you get down everything that you want, and stick around, and we will talk to you next week, give you updates on cabin build, if we got our material delivered or what's going on there, and anything else that pops up during my week. Have a fantastic day, guys, and we will catch up with you next Monday.